The date is December 5th, 2021. It's snowing outside and everybody is patiently waiting for the servers to come up so they can play Fortnite Chapter 3. It's been over 2 years since a new chapter was released, and even people who quit the game months ago are waiting to see what it has in store. But there are 3 people waiting to start a race they don't know will go down in Fortnite history forever. The first one was Clawftw. Claw was a good pro player, especially in early Chapter 2, and towards the end he started streaming the grind for first place on the arena leaderboards, and in Chapter 2 Season 8 he did exactly that. The second person was Problem2x. Problem was another successful competitive player who wanted to do something that would allow him to grow his stream while having something to do at any given time. And the last person is me. After losing my passion for competitive, I had to do something in order to blow up, so I decided streaming 24/7 while grinding for first was the best thing to do. The servers finally went up and everybody immediately realized Fortnite was gonna be fun again.
Bro, the map is beautiful. Game feels fresh.
Although the season started with really bad shotguns and the most broken SMGs of all time, it still had potential, and that made Claw, Problem, and I want to grind even more. Trios was the fastest and easiest way to gain points, so everybody who wanted to be first had to have good teammates to play with. Every elimination was 10 points and every win was 180. At the beginning, Problem teamed up with Smite, who ended up qualifying for the Global Championships in Raleigh.
And right now, it is not, but that was an explosive ending. Almost makes magic happen.
And Twix, who also went on to be pretty good at competitive Fortnite. Claw teamed up with Byla, who won FNCS the season after this with Peterbot, and their third would be whoever they could get to play the game for a while. My trio at the beginning was Lotus and Skylix. Both were multiple-time grand finalists, and I knew that we could easily win the race together. At first, Problem, Smite, and Twix were winning, but I knew they wouldn't keep it up for long. Lotus, Skylix, and I were close behind, but Claw and Byla were nowhere to be found. At the start, the goal was to just be first place and nothing else, but eventually I did the math and realized it was easily possible to reach 1 million points. At first, I joked about going for it, but suddenly it was the only thing I wanted to do. And when I said I was going to do it, Claw and Problem said they were too. On average, we were gaining anywhere from 12,000 to 20,000 points a day, depending on how good we played and how long we'd play for. With the season lasting a total of 105 days, we could easily get 1 million points, if not more, even if we took days off. The only issue was, if we wanted to do this, we had to dedicate everything to the grind. After 11 days, me, Claw, Lotus, and Problem all hit 100,000 points within a few hours of each other. It seemed like a good milestone to hit, but we were only 10% of the way to reaching our goal. But Fortnite's next update would change everything. The Spider-Man gloves were one of the best items ever added to Arena because you could just fly around the map and find people non-stop. Before they were added, it was tough to drop more than 25 to 30 kills a game, but with them, if you dropped anything less than 40, it was a bad game. None of us were sure if doing this was worth it, but after 2 weeks, Claw and I both went from averaging around 100 viewers on Twitch to 400. But little did we know, this was just the beginning. At the beginning of January, It's Jarian released this video where he talks about the million arena point race, and this boosted our viewership even more.
You see, at the moment, there is no clear player who is first in arena points. In fact, there's actually 3 different pro players grinding for the #1 spot and for the title of the first ever player to get 1 million arena points in 1 season.
This video made everybody from content creators to tier 1 pros start talking about the race, and because of it, all of us started to blow up. As viewership kept increasing, all of us realized how important it was to actually be first. Because of this, we started to put in more and more hours and sleeping less and less. At first, we would play for 12 to 14 hours a day, which was already a lot, but we could still get 8 hours of sleep and have somewhat of a life. But Claw and Problem started playing for 24 plus hours at a time, and I realized that if I wanted to be first, I'd have to do the same. There were times where Claw was playing for so long without stopping that he was getting accused of account sharing, and we'll get back to that later. The next milestone was 200,000 points. Claw hit it on Christmas Eve at noon, and I did 3.5 hours later, so the race was still neck and neck after 3 weeks. Claw and Problem decided to team up together, so now it was me against them, since everybody else either gave up or fell so far behind there was no reason to try and catch up. Since they were a duo, all they had to do was find one more teammate at any given time and they were fine, but for me it was different. I had to find 2 new teammates every time I wanted to play, and there were times I couldn't play at all because nobody was on, so that would make me fall really far behind. Luckily for me, this is when I met Foxman, who is now my best friend, and anytime I need him to play, he'd be on. Now it was an even race.
So is he white? On World Cup or what?
Yeah, World Cup. What?
Watch out. Dead. Dead. 3-1. Dead. Nice.
Hey, let's go.
Yes, sir.
While everybody else would be mad when the servers went down, this was the best time for all of us. Anytime we'd have an excuse to sleep, it was the best possible thing that could happen, and we took full advantage of it. It was smooth sailing for the next 200,000 points, and we were still neck and neck until one night my internet suddenly went off. I didn't think much of it at first, so I reset my router, but my internet still didn't work. Eventually, I realized I was getting DDoSed, but I thought the issue would go away after a couple of hours. Unfortunately, I ended up having no internet for the next 3 days. I was convinced they had one of their friends hitting me offline so they could get a lead, but I actually figured out who did it, and they had nothing to do with it. But because of this setback, they ended up gaining a 20,000 point lead on me, which is 24 hours of flawless gameplay, so I thought there was no way I could come back. When this happened, I wanted to give up, but I was averaging 800 viewers on Twitch, and I had already put too much time into it, so there was no way I was quitting. There was only one chance to be the first person to reach 1 million arena points in Fortnite, so I needed a plan to come back. Over the next few weeks, I tried to make up at least 1,000 points every day because that meant I would catch up in 3 or 4 weeks, then I could go from there.
I was down 8.1k, right? When I got off, guess how much I was down? The whole time we were both playing. 2.5.
For an entire month, I would play for 40 hours or until I couldn't keep my eyes open more, then sleep for 4 hours and do the same thing all over again.
This shit's so boring, dude. Like, I can't force myself to try as much, and I'm so sleep deprived.
But if you think that's bad, wait till you see how long Claw would play. For the next 4 weeks, I slowly cut down at the lead. 20,000 away, 15,000 away, 10,000 away, 5,000 away, until eventually I was in first again. And this tweet right here is basically why my profile picture is what it is. Because there is no way I should have been able to come back. Once this happened, my Twitch viewership blew up even more. I was gaining 1,000 to 2,000 followers and peaking at 1,500 viewers every day. There were more people talking about the race to 1 million arena points than FNCS, even though Grand Finals was coming up. Everyone tweeted whether they're Team Claw or Team bhronos, and none of us ever expected it to get this big. We both agreed to stream every single game no matter what, so it was fair, and we knew the other person wasn't account sharing or doing anything to cheat. But eventually, people began to realize that Claw would gain points while he was sleeping, and he would private his Fortnite tracker so nobody could see he was winning games with 0 eliminations. Once I saw this, I immediately called him out, but there wasn't anything I could do. For the last 7 days, he played for 168 hours straight, most of which was off stream, and the night before he hit 1 million, I realized there was no way I could get there first if he was account sharing or cheating in some way. On February 22nd, after 80 days of doing nothing but playing Fortnite Arena, Claw started his stream and loaded into the final game to reach 1 million points. He peaked at 20,000 viewers because everyone was curious to see what would happen when somebody actually got to 1 million arena points. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty mad how it ended after dedicating so much time to the race, especially knowing there was no way I could have won. Eventually, Claw admitted that his dad would ready up for him while he slept, and his teammates would play duo trios in order to get him points. His reasoning was that he thought I was doing the same thing because sometimes I would go AFK to shower while my teammates played a game out for me, which is a fair point. Looking back at it, I don't really blame him, and there's no bad blood. Once he finally did it, I slept for 16 hours and ended up hitting 1 million points 2 days later. The most common question I get is, was this worth it? To be honest, I still don't know. I gained 110,000 followers on Twitch in 82 days and tens of thousands of followers on all of my other social medias, but I think if I dedicated that amount of time into something else, it would have been way better. Claw and I are friends now, and to this day, we talk about how much we pushed ourselves and each other in order to pull this off. Drop a like and sub if you think they should bring Arena back, because ranked sucks.